What's going on, everybody? This is B from Kong's R Us, and welcome to The Next Level. This is my weekly podcast show where I bring you next level things, guest projects, community members. And today I'm excited to show you some awesome freaking mods with this guy. It's been a minute since I've done some mods and some content on Big Buck Hunter, and here it is. So I'm kind of in this awkward space. I'm kind of mobile right now because my Buck Hunter is in this weird space in my arcade, as I've had Buck Hunter now for the last it's been almost a year. I got it in January of last year, everybody, and I couldn't find a good place for it in my home. It's kind of like I did my big screen mod with Mrs. Kong's R Us with the guns, and you need that space to play it. But as I've gotten tighter and tighter, here's my setup right now. I have this row of arcades along my wall, and so what I did was I turned Buck Hunter to face out, so that way I could have some space to shoot. And then I have the rest of my arcade here. So this is the arcade for folks that are, curious what my setup looks like. I got my pinball machines, got my row of Arcade1Ups, got my Tron. So this is where I'm at in my house to do some content because we're doing some big bucket upgrades. I have an amazing lineup of guests tonight to talk about next level stuff. We're going to be talking about the lit Marquee that's available from Retro 530, another collaborator who helped develop that. He's going to be coming on the show as well. And then also, I don't know if you guys have heard, but once upon a time, there was a guy and a couple community members that were working on hacking the Big Buck PCB, where you could actually play additional games on the PCB using the send-in technology of the rifles. So I have a couple of guests to talk about that. And then lastly, I got some guns, some gun for IRs, and a PC build that I'm going to be demoing some of the playlists that I have on here with two great, awesome folks, Ray from RPEG Electronics and Joel Gorky. So it's a freaking packed show. I'm super excited. I hope if you're catching this on replay, thank you so much for joining in. And everybody that's here in chat, hello. Jacob Romero is here. EPT Cyclone, Juan, Dwayne, Bill Wright says, congratulations, by the way. We hit 5,000 subs yesterday. So thank you all for being subscribers to the channel. It's amazing in a year to have had that much growth. So I hope I can continue to make good content. And as long as this is fun, I'm going to keep doing it. And I appreciate it. But my favorite part about doing this whole thing is talking with awesome folks in the community. Like, I set out to make this channel about not covering the whole home arcade market, but all the potential and possibility that you can do with these machines. And everybody I'm talking to today has helped that modding community really shine. And my first guest has been, I think, behind the scenes a little bit. And I had him on my show once. I think it might have been his YouTube debut. It was featuring him and a bunch of other vendors. And at the time, he was just an Etsy shop. And he didn't even have a proper logo. And I said, Laramie Griffith, you need to open up and freaking develop your own logo. And I'm so excited to invite Retro 530, aka Laramie Griffith, onto the show. What's going on, man?
Hey, B, how are you?
Yeah, good. Look at you. You got your own branded shirt now. Like,
not too bad, huh?
You've come a long way. Talk a little bit about Retro 530 and how it's been going the last year.
Well, it's been going really good. First of all, congratulations on your 5,000 subscribers.
Thanks, man.
That's really cool, man.
Appreciate that.
I remember when you first started, you had these videos with this guy right there, and how to
Star Wars.
mod
it was all about Star Wars. That was it.
And and I was always just like, wow, he's really detailed in his tutorials, and then all of a sudden you just kind of blew up. So congratulations to that. Your success on the channel.
Man.
And thanks for having me and everybody else that's in the community. But yeah, I mean, I started probably like 3 years ago, honestly, with the little.
You started with buttons, right? You used to make little coin buttons. Was that your first thing that you were doing?
Yeah, the first kind of like arcade thing, and that only happened from accident. It's kind of funny when I first saw, I think everybody can like agree with this. When you first saw an Arcade1Up at Walmart and it was short, and you're like, that's kind of weird. But I'll tell you what, probably the best accessory that Arcade1Up ever had was probably the riser. Because once you saw an arcade on a riser, then you were like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And then I saw a Killer Instinct mod, and I had to build one. So anyways,
is that what got you?
Well, yeah. So I got some buttons, and they showed up broken. The front things were broken, and I had to open it up, you know, and I started realizing like, oh wait, you could put graphics in these and you know, kind of do your own thing. And so I made a couple designs and for myself, and then I put them out there on the community, and people were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then, you know, it was just kind of like a little hobby, you know, and then that just kind of grew into some, you know, 3D printing projects that I had, and, you know, and then it kind of, you know, the covers kind of came, you know, about because, you know, it was kind of like a weird thing because people were like, why would you want to cover your arcade? But you know,
that was one of the unique things you offered was actual covers for your Arcade1Up machines. Was that?
And man, it was like in the beginning, it was like, man, somebody would share it and be like, you know, what is this? This is so dumb. And I was just like, well, you know, and I would chime in and say, hey, there's a lot of reasons why. But you know, the covers have been doing good, you know, and I could tell stories about that. But and then it kind of evolved into you know, the coin doors and the speaker grills and then the marquees, and I think really the marquees really kind of expanded my you know my networking with a lot of people that you know, that are really passionate about this and and provide good ideas too. That, you know, I'm like, hey, you know, hey, what do you think about this? And you know, you kind of go to the drawing board and trying to figure it out. The scroll up a little bit, B.
Yeah.
So that Big Buck Hunter.
This?
Yes, yeah, the Big Buck Hunter grill. I got to give my shout out to my boy Milton. He actually challenged me to make a cover, speaker grill cover for Big Buck Hunter, and it was like, well, you know, what do we want it to look like, you know?
Yeah.
And so we just started kind of playing around with some ideas, and so I went to the drawing board and, you know, and came up with that, and you know, there's now a lot on a lot of people's arcades, so that's pretty cool. And, you know,
it's simple.
And it was just from, and I got to give credit to my boy Milton. He's the one that kind of came up with that idea. You know, putting that out there and kind of, you know, brainstorming with some of his projects that were going on. But, you know, it's kind of grown. And, you know, I have to give a lot of credit to Ian Newman. Ian is a phenomenal, you know, artist, developer, or designer for a lot of 3D printed projects. And
I had Ian on my show early on.
I've known him for a long time, and we've been networking, and we kind of share files, and he kind of takes care of the UK, and you know, he hooks me up with files to help people out here in the US. So it's really cool. And then everybody that helps me with my graphics, you know, Justin, you know, from Gulf Coast, he's been phenomenal. He's a great friend. And you know, so yeah.
So this is your Etsy shop with buttons, like the coin doors. You got the covers. Where are your marquee stuff at? Is it on here, or is that more on your website?
So the marquees are mostly on my website.
Okay. Let me go over there.
So what was happening is I was getting busy. Like I was getting kind of overwhelmed in the sense where I was like, well, I don't want a lot of people waiting 2 or 3 weeks for their items. So I try to kind of migrate some of the marquee stuff over, you know, to the website, because honestly, with the website, it's a lot easier to customize what you want. You know, your graphics, you know, the frame, the color of the frame. And so, and it just seems to be a better shopping experience for the marquees on the website.
There it is. All right. So I do want to get to the Big Buck marquee, because that's one of the main reasons why we're talking today, was that you had this amazing, incredible design for the Big Buck marquee. But let's talk about the other gen marquees. Is this one right here? That one that says out of stock? Is that what it is?
Yep.
But it's not out of stock. Is it more like you can order it? To be made,
I just kind of held off for this week because I was getting backed up, and I didn't really, honestly, I didn't want people waiting longer than 2 or 3 weeks. So
I see. Okay.
I put them out of stock so I could kind of get caught up on production.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
And then and
so what makes your marquee different than kind of the other markets? Because we have a lot of great third-party vendors out there, and I love supporting Angel and then some of the other folks that make marquees. But you make like a glow in the dark marquee. Is that like is that something that you and Ian created? I think Ian showed me one of your very first ones that you guys created, right?
So Ian, he reached out to me and he said, hey, how are you on your 3D printing skills? And I said, I'm okay, and he goes, I have a lot of people that, want this marquee in the US. Can you fulfill, some of those orders? And I said, well, currently what I have, it's not going to be at the quality that I want. And because before he had files where you would print it in 3 sections and then you would have to glue it together. And I used them for my personal one and they were fine. But as a product, I was kind of hesitant on putting something like that out. So the modders that we are, B, I figured out how to mod a 3D printer to be able to print basically 20 inches high, and it has its own unique firmware. So you have to basically modify the 3D printer with its own firmware to be able to print up 500 millimeters, which is about 20 inches. But the marquees themselves are about 17 and a half. So these marquees, when they print up. They print up.
Okay.
They print up, and they take about 2 days to print one.
Yeah.
So
that's the time. Gulf Coast Decals is here. Justin's here supporting the homies. So 2 days. So you must have stuff running like 24/7 then, right? How many 3D printers do you have?
I have 10 printers that are running 24/7.
Wow. All right.
10
products and orders. You are a busy man.
6 are just designed and developed to print marquee frames, and I have 2 larger ones that print the coin doors, and then I have 2 other printers that print the odds and ends like the grills and some of the smaller accessories. So
all right, well, let's get to the meat and potatoes of even why I asked you to come on the show. And it was I think you sent me mine a couple weeks ago, but like I wanted to coordinate this like awesome show where I could interview you and talk about this, because there's a story to this marquee. I think this is like, from all the Arcade1Ups that came up, this is one of the arcade cabs that was needing a lit up marquee, but there was lots of different folks that were trying to come up with ideas on how to do this. I know Angel was working on an idea for this too, but you were the first to actually kind of put it to market, and it freaking rocks. I want to show off mine. I know that's a picture of it, but this is the most high quality, and it's not all 3D printed, actual freaking enclosed marquee. Like, this is amazing, Laramie. And then when you told me the story about this, give some people a little bit of the background story on how this was developed. This is why I invite you onto the show, because people can read this website and people can talk about it. But I love hearing your thought process. Like, what was the design process about this?
So when you're selling marquees, I got hit up a lot like, hey, what do you have for Big Buck Hunter? And due to the limitations with 3D printing, I was always like, well, to really make it how I think it should look and how people would really want it to look, I'm really limited on my 3D printing. I guess you could say the machines are limited in space and what they could do. So
physical limitations from this.
Yeah. So anyways, I got hit up by good friend Brandon Lowe, and he reached out and he had inquired about buying some marquees because he was building this arcade. And through our conversations, really relatable. We both have young families and love arcades, and just kind of helping and sharing and doing all kinds of stuff. And it kind of developed, a pretty cool friendship. And one day he hits me up and he goes, Laramie, I got all these arcades in here and they all have lit marquees except Big Buck Hunter. And I would hear that a lot. And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, he's all, what do you plan to do for that? And I just said, well, I don't know, and I said, I'm pretty limited, with my abilities with the 3D printer. And from our conversations, I knew that he had, some, he had the availability to do some like CNC stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I was really, this really only came in to help him. This was an idea. It's like, hey, let's make one for you. And we started brainstorming. I mean, we were going crazy with all these ideas, and we both agreed, we gotta have antlers that kind of come out like the original arcade. And I said I could take care of the lighting, and we were doing all this stuff. And then the rendered pictures started coming out, and I was like, whoa. And I just said, man,
you ready for this? All right, here it is. Here's it stock, and here it is lit up. Like the quality of that section that's lit up. Wow. Okay, so you're talking about you doing kind of more of the light up sections and everything, and you had a partner. So you talked about You talked about Brandon, right?
Yeah, this was just an idea to kind of get him hooked up, and then once it started formulating into like a really cool marquee, I knew that other people would want it too. And so, with his help, we were able to put it, on the market and be able to help people, finally light their Big Buck hunter up.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's bring him on. I thought it would be fun to bring on Brandon because for folks that don't know, Retro 530 has been kind of the face of this marquee and the one that's been doing the sales and the shipping. But I mean, when I heard the story of Brandon and talking to him, even myself, he had a lot to do with this. And I think his story is just as important. So for the first time on my channel, hopefully not the last because he's doing some awesome shit. Here he is, Brandon from Arcade Mountain. What's going on, man?
Hey, B, thanks for having me on, buddy.
Yeah, are you on a green screen? Is that like some crazy arcade, or is that your like legit arcade?
This is my kid's paradise.
Oh, dude, like, all right. So when I do my next show where I do game rooms, we're gonna have to do another tour because that looks freaking awesome. Is it like combo 3/4 scale plus other stuff too? Like, what else do you have in there?
It is almost 100% Arcade1Up. I've got an II arcade.
Okay.
I think that's it. Everything else is 1-up. I've got some like a skee ball, that kind of stuff. And then I've got a corner over here with all the retro consoles, everything from Atari up through everything, I think.
Yeah, I just love the layout with the carpet, and you got a big screen in the background too. It's just looking really good. Let us know in the chat if you like the layout and the setup. It looks like you could walk into that as like a miniature arcade. Like the space and the layout design you have looks on point, man. I'm jealous. Looks good. Good job.
Yeah, this has been 15 years in the making. Ever since my uncle built a game room at his house, and I was younger. The first time I saw it, I said, "I'm gonna do it one day," and I was finally able to. So
yeah, sorry. Okay. So yeah. So Laramie was doing the printer side of things. You're doing some of the actual kind of extra design things. We did a quick question from Brent that asked about what printers you're using. Do you have a quick answer to that, Laramie?
Yeah, I use Ender 3 V2s and the CR10s, and I had an old. I really started. My first one was on an Anycubic, but the Enders have been really reliable. So
nice.
And if anybody's anybody knows about 3D printing, man, they are temperamental and a lot of tuning and a lot of patience. But man, sometimes the end results of what you could do with them is just, it's infectious, man. It just keeps you going. It's a fun hobby, and it's kind of, for me, it's kind of turned into more of that. But
yeah, absolutely.
It's cool.
One of the coolest arcade rooms I've ever seen, and I agree. But Arcade Mountain, aka Brandon, give us kind of your half of the story. So I mean, this is like a meet cute. You guys were like, "Hey, I want to make an arcade marquee. Like, can I do this?" Like, what's your half of that story of collaborating with Laramie?
Well, like he said, it started out buying marquees for everything but Big Buck Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if I actually had my cabinet yet I've got the Big Buck World. Maybe I had it, but I had not put it together yet. So I got all his other marquees, got that here. Honestly, I didn't even realize it didn't have a lit marquee because by then 1-up was pretty much putting lit marquees in all their new games. So I got it out. I was like, oh, dang, no lit marquee. So that's when, I called Laramie and said, hey, what do you have? He's like, I don't have anything. And I said, oh. So I didn't know the lighting side of it. I mean, anybody can buy LED strip, get them anywhere. But the way Laramie puts them together and they're the right length and they're, the perfect amount of light for a marquee, I just was like, dude, if I make something, can you light it up for me? He's like, sure.
Yeah.
So like, it wasn't maybe 2 or 3 days. I had some renderings made and I said, hey, if I can get this produced, can you light this up? And he's like, oh, wow. So we went back and forth for, I don't know, a few weeks, I guess. And I've got a good friend here in town, Richard, that we do a lot of work together for our day job. And he's got some equipment that I don't have. I've got equipment he doesn't have. So we do a lot of side jobs that are fun.
Nice.
Or I think they're fun. And so I made one and I mounted it on my cabinet and I sent a picture to Laramie. And like he said, it was supposed to just be, I was going to make me one. And I said, if you like it, we'll make you one. And, we'll have.
That was it.
Yeah. He showed one of his friends. I forget which one of your friends you showed, but one of your good buddies. And he's like, hey, dude, my buddy really wants one too. And I'm like,
everybody wanted one. I mean, this was like one of the most wanted marquees in the entire Arcade1Up universe. And you guys made it happen from like, just one last time before I'm going to do a live installation to show you how easy it is to install one of these Retro 530 arcade mounted marquees. But just like the quality of this, like an enclosed marquee is something that you normally only see from Arcade1Up itself. A lot of the other third-party market ones have an opening in the back and you have to install the LEDs. So just the design that this is enclosed 100% with this coming out, like just look at the quality of this from here. It's amazing. So if you two can talk about the design process of getting it to this part while I do the live install and don't break it, hopefully, let's do it. I'm gonna do this hopefully carefully. I'm gonna mute myself while I drill, but talk, both of you, just like chime off of each other and tell about the design process of getting it to this quality, because I'm curious about what even parts you used in this. Like, I don't know if what is high density foam, right? I don't know what this is.
Yeah, we actually thought about those being 3D printed.
Yeah.
And then
So
we
this
took
is not
a lot
3D
of
print.
No, it's a PVC foam.
PVC foam.
But we took a lot of things in consideration, like how much is it going to weigh, and one of my things that I was he would send me a lot of prototypes, and my thing was the depth inside the box for better light distribution, because if you put LEDs right up close to something, it's sometimes the distribution isn't there. But Brandon, man, he was sending me, I mean, it was pretty exciting. Like, we were going back and forth, for a good solid week just on concepts and ideas. And then when it started formulating, and then he showed me this picture, of the prototype, and I was like, man, I got to show that off. And once that kind of got out, it generated a lot of attention. And then it was like, hey, let's build, 75 of these and see kind of where it goes. So we locked in, the material for all that. We Brandon could attest to this too. I mean, we went through probably every single kind of hiccup that you could go through when you're trying to put something like this together, to get it out to people. And so it was just like, I went through probably 3 different revisions on what LEDs I wanted to use. I have some vendors that I use, and the LEDs inside that are actually, the plan was to use the same ones that I use on my other marquees, but we decided to go with something different to make it easier, because it's not just, it had to be kind of dual layered. It had to be, and so with the regular marquees, it just stretches across, and inside there we had to do something, a little bit more custom.
So I normally would say install this, but after turning everything off, but I'm stupid and I want to do this live now. So yeah, this should be okay. But essentially, this, you can almost leave it. If I did the mod with the big screen, but most people can just leave it without taking out the monitor and stuff, right? Can you just talk about the installation process, like how easy it is for somebody that wanted to do this?
Yeah, so you see mine here. I don't have the big screen mod, so I don't know exactly what's involved with doing the big screen. Is the stock monitor still back there behind the big screen? Okay. All right. So it should be really easy then. So what you should be able to do is, from that point, just the wooden dowels is going to be the trickiest part. But after you spread the cabinet apart enough to get the wood dowels out, do you still have the little, I forget what letter it is, the little panel on the bottom of the back of the thing that
I do. I think I have it, like, I think I have the L bracket behind this. That's like
okay,
holding
so
it
you're
down,
gonna
right?
have
So
to
I gotta
get the
take
L
off the
bracket
top
off.
part.
Yep.
All right.
Now, what you can probably do, B, to make it quicker for you, since you've got the big screen there, just take the L bracket out too, and you don't even really have to have the L bracket on. In fact, one of Laramie's buddies was needing an L bracket, so mine is installed right now. I don't even have that piece of wood in there, so you don't have to have that. So all you gotta do, slide the stock one out, and then this one will slide on to the. There's a little groove on the back that slides in the slot, and then run your screws in the side, and you're done. And it's
all right.
as simple as
All
that.
right. We're gonna see if I can pull this out. Maybe I gotta loosen up some more stuff. This is kind of like scary doing it live while everything's on, but that's why people watch. They're waiting to see something break on my chest. Other than that, yeah. So what about the back and forth process between you guys? Like, what part do you do, Brandon, and then what do you do, Laramie, for people that order it? Just so people can kind of get a sense from that portion of it, and then hopefully I can do this really quickly.
The funny thing about like Laramie, and for obvious reasons, his most important thing was the light's got to be right. And I cared about that. Obviously, I want the light to be right. But to me, the most important part was how it looks. You know, how we had the antlers sticking out the side and, you know, out the front and everything. That was important to me. So it was a lot of fun going back and forth on, you know, what he thought was important versus what I thought was important. I mean, we both thought it was all important, but, you know, we kind of played off of each other's strengths on what we wanted it to look like, if you could say. But
so
yeah,
this just fit back in, and then just screw in. That's it.
Yep. Slide that right on the. Yep, you see where the groove goes. But don't let go of it, B, because then you'll get what you were talking about. And
then screw it in.
Yep,
that's it.
There's a little screw hole, pilot hole that you'll see that lines up with the stock.
Right. Okay, let me grab that part first before I forget.
Yep. And once you put one screw in one side, you can let go of it, and you'll be fine. But don't let go of it until you put the screw in.
Shout out to Brandon who also printed out some awesome Kongs R Us logos for me. These are the most high quality shiny stickers I've ever seen in my life. So thank you so much for that. That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. So it comes with a little bag. And it comes with a Y splitter plus some additional. Oh, this is another cool thing that I don't think anybody has offered. But you have some screw cap covers too for the Marquee sides, and then these are the screws that are there. So let me grab those, get that screwed in, and then we're gonna install it, and that'll be it. Be done. I don't know if I have an extra Y splitter though. I gotta find a Y splitter because there wasn't one. Like, you would take it from the PCB and split it? Is that how you would do it?
It goes into the top. It goes into the top of the PCB.
Oh, okay.
But you got a different configuration there going on.
I do. I got to figure something out. But let me just get it installed, and then I'll light it up afterwards and do all the wiring and stuff. But this is simple. So yeah, that front part just kind of came off. This sits here, and I just get one screw in, and that's it. Just line it up. I was wondering if I can do a live install because, you know, this always is fun to see what else I can do. But tell me, how many of these have you sold? Like what's the quantity that's out in the world right now? Because I've seen a lot of people put this together.
I'd say we're almost to 100.
About 100 in the wild. And one of your customers, by the way, is actually joining us, and he's going to be the next part of our conversation, because we're not only talking about what you can do with the stock Big Buck Hunter, but the possibilities of modding it. So we're gonna bring on one of the guys. You might know him in the community or not. It's the first time I'm bringing him on my show. It's somebody who's a customer. So let's talk to him from a customer standpoint. This guy, Mr. Zen and Breno, what's going on, man? You have one of these marquees on your buck hunter back there. You did a 40-inch big screen mod. How are you feeling about this marquee product from Laramie and Brandon?
I think you, with all your fancy talk that you said, undersold it. It is the best, the most high quality marquee in my game room. It is by far the best one I have. I'm in love with it. When I first took it out of the box, I wanted to hang it on the wall just as a light up sign instead of putting it on the machine. But like, well, I'll put it on the machine, I guess.
Well, we have that option, Zen. We have that option for a wall mounted.
I saw that too.
For a wall mounted version. For those that don't have Big Buck Hunter that, you know, want to have some you know, some accessories on their wall in their arcade. We do have
for a game room, it's perfect, or a bar. Even if you don't have the arcade, you know, one-ups or the machine, it's fantastic.
That's it. Done.
Yeah.
That was so simple. I was like, am I gonna really break this? And then this is the screw cover, so that just like literally pops into place. That's it. Damn. All right. Well, there it is. Okay, so let's just check this out so you guys can see what it looks like on a live machine. There it is. There's a close-up. It's installed with the extra antlers on the side. So yeah, it's gorgeous, man. Even from a design standpoint, and one thing I was saying, because it looked 3D, but just seeing it not lit up makes me happy. Even, you know, I might have to get Mrs. Kong's Arrest to do another review just for this. It might happen. In fact, it will happen at some point. But Zen, otherwise, yeah, you said it, man. Best quality marquee that I've seen from an aftermarket product. But you took it one step further. I'd love to kind of like pivot a little bit more about what you did, because you did the big screen mod like me. You went a little bit of a bigger TV, and you've been working with a guy who was doing the hack, Pinel, right? And so can you talk a little bit about the PCB hack? Now we're going to pivot, folks. If you don't know, you can play more games on here besides Buck Hunter. So Zen, tell us a little bit about kind of the hack and kind of its history and what your involvement's been in it.
So it's been in the works for about a year. I think it came out around last year, around this time. And it works very similar. I don't have the Arcade1Up pinball, but the same way I've been reading and seeing all the videos, it seems to work for me the same way that the installation did in that. You would have to hack into the PCB, install some software on the back end. After that, once you just load up the software onto a flash drive and you fire it up, you do have to have a USB hub powered. But once you do that in the flash drive, you're good to go. You can load up RetroArch, and once you have the correct Sinden drivers, you can play NES games, PlayStation games, and I believe MAME is also going to try to be an option.
Yeah, so this is it. This is what we wanted to see, what we can do with the stock PCBs. In fact, I think I see him here. Pino was the guy that was helping it out. And you've been working with him in addition to not only on the additional hack, but getting it working. Because in order to get it to work, you do have to hack the PCB and then afterwards use a flash drive. So do you have yours ready to boot up? Can we see yours booting up to what it looks like? So for the first time, I think on like big publicly, right, we're gonna see the hack PCB. You've teased pictures, by the way. I've seen that. Like I post pictures of Laramie's mod, and people are like, "Is that Time Crisis on a Buck Hunter?" And they're like, "Yes, it is. yes, it is." All right, so let's go. Let's make you full screen. And dude, nice Cruising USA mod, by the way.
Thank you. I just moved a week and a half ago, so you'll have to excuse.
All right, no worries. All right, so let's get it booted up and let's see what's there.
All right, so I have the flash drive, everything in the back. I'm not mobile, so I can't show that. But once you have everything, I have the NES mod ready to boot right away. You just turn on the machine like normal. The audio, with the way I have it, I think that is because of the encoder for the bigger screen. The audio still comes out of the speaker, which I don't know if I can bring it closer to show. I also can speak. I also speak to the Laramie's.
Yeah, nice.
Speaker. It looks fantastic. Also layered, just like the Marquee. It is absolutely the best. So here it is. This is the UI. I have a few games for NES. If you can see you see it really well?
Yep, yeah, looks good. Looks great.
If I turn off the lights, it'll be just too bright. So you can go to a second page, have more games loaded.
Badass. So look at that. So this is the NES build, and you're using the stock guns, right? So this is off the stock PCB. It has the Sinden border around it. So I know that it gets really technical on like how, but are you repurposing like any of the Sinden software in this, or did you kind of recreate something else?
Well, no, just repurposing it. I think the drivers were redesigned and tweaked so that it is able to read. This is RetroArch loading all the games.
Yeah. Nice. Very good. Well, there it is.
Right there. Yep.
So yeah, we can see that. So you're going to play some Duck Hunt for us on the Sinden border. in RetroArch. So this is running off of the stock PCB right now. So let's see it. Let's see how
the tracking is almost flawless. Like I don't notice any lag.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about that. Like, does it feels okay? Doesn't?
Yeah.
Oh, and your volume works too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Now I'm kind of close here, so it might not track the best from down here at my desk because I don't want to cover the screen. So it works really good. Tracks fantastic. And as far as shortcuts go, we have where if you hold, maybe this build doesn't have it. Okay. So this build doesn't have it. The PlayStation 1 does. I can showcase where when you hold both buttons here, then you go back to the menu. It's a quick shortcut. This particular build doesn't have it, but the PlayStation 1 does. So whenever you want me to showcase that, I can show the PlayStation 1.
So this is still very much kind of in development, right? It's more of like a test proof of concept. I know there was a nice little front end where you are shooting kind of to load up to different games. What do you feel like would be the next step of this? Do you see it being kind of self-serve, right? Like, because obviously when this gets released, did you put all these ROMs on yourself? And like, is there an ideal set of games that works with this? Or is it going to be pretty open that it could work with anything Siddons work with? This would work.
Well, I think PlayStation will have a harder hurdles to get through because unlike NES or MAME, that system had two different type of guns. We had the Justifier, I think it's called, and then it also had the Gun Con. So that's why, as far as the PlayStation build, I do have the first two Time Crisis on there working, but for the ones with the Justifier, I don't have up and running yet, and a few other games have some graphical issues when loading with RetroArch, like Die Hard. There are a lot of graphical issues as it's loading. It's very graphic intense, so there's graphical errors when that loads. But yeah, I think the more work is done, the more.
Laramie, Brandon, what do you guys think? Is this something that you could see yourself doing with your?
Yeah, I want it.
Yeah,
definitely, I want it.
Sitting here thinking about when I can do this.
It's like, when is this going to be available? So do you want to demo the Time Crisis one really fast so we can see the PS1? And then afterwards we'll talk. I have some other guests here because there's many ways to play these games, right? We know we could be emulating this on a PC. We know you could probably play this on a RetroPie build if you wanted to. It's the fact that we can reuse the stock hardware, the fact that this could be done somewhat fairly easily. And so Pino, I think, is working to your point. I think he has been working with, and I think I saw him in chat earlier, Mystery Encoder, our favorite a-hole, right? This project piqued his interest a little bit. And I think you've been working with Pino and him, right? So there's a team of people that are working to put this together. And this is the PS1 build behind you. So separate USB, or was it like the same one? Separate USB sticks.
Separate.
Okay, so, all right.
I think eventually, being able to talk with the people that I'm working with, I don't know if it's going to be possible to do some sort of just UI at the front that has just like the pinball. You can select the Williams or all the other tables. Maybe it will be some logos for NES, PlayStation, and MAME in the future. Or for right now, this is a separate flash drive.
And this is only PS1 games. So do you anticipate like each system needing its own drive, or is that something that can be combined at one point?
Well, I have them both separate right now. That's what I'm saying. Just like Mystery Encoder did for pinball, with more work that gets done, there might be something where, depending on the size of your flash drive, and you want to have all the systems, MAME, PlayStation, because PlayStation games are huge as well. Maybe something in the UI where when it first loads up, you can shoot either NES, PlayStation, or MAME and have it all on one flash drive. But that remains to be seen. For now, even if you had to load up separate flash drives, I think it's a cool, innovative.
Very cool. All right, and there he is. The man himself is talking about it can be done. So show us some demo. You're getting into, and so with the Big Buck rifle, do you have it mapped out where like the cock is the
the pedal?
The pedal. All right.
Yeah, I don't have it set up to show right now, but I also have a USB cable in the back where I plug in a USB pedal. So you can't. I already have it mapped to that as well. So
pedal too.
Having to sit there and hold this up and hold it in there every time you want to is a pain in the ass. So
you can have a pedal
through USB. Since you have so many in the USB hub, you have the option to plug in a USB pedal.
Hells to the yeah. Look at that. All right. So
Here
this
I
is
have to kind of shut
one.
off the lights because
Okay.
the lights are very bright in here.
All right, so there we go. A PS1 demo of Time Crisis 1. You can run Time Crisis 1 through MAME, but this is the PS1 version. Can this emulator run regular MAME ones too, or is it just kind of
Yes.
the PC? Okay, it can. All right.
I don't have MAME, demoed yet, but you can.
Yeah.
And I have the cock to show as be at the start. So once you shoot in the middle.
There it is. This. All right, gotta make you big. We gotta highlight this. We gotta spotlight. This is Time Crisis on a Big Buck Hunter PCB, modded by Pnell, Zen, Team Encoder. I saw a couple other folks there. Nice.
No crosshairs.
How does the PS1 game version compare to the MAME one? Have you played both?
Yeah. I'm a huge light gun enthusiast. So it's the PlayStation 1 has its limits because you can't have unlimited credits. The graphics are almost identical. They're just a little upscaled more for MAME.
Okay. Nice. There it is.
So for the pedal, I'm holding in the cock and letting it go when I want to shoot.
Okay.
Or pulling it when I want to shoot is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because you have to step on the pedal to like go up, right? I got it. So yeah, it's a little bright to see, but we can kind of see you doing it. There it is. Yeah, so he's moving through. It's just a little bit of the contrast, but I think we get the point. Laramie, Brandon, what do you guys think, man?
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So
the shooting won't show much here, but
okay. All right.
It's very accurate.
Oh, okay. Oh, so no cursor, but like you're actually
no cursor. No.
Oh, damn. All right.
Yeah, that is so cool.
And I believe I turned the cursor off. I think of the PlayStation version, you can turn it off. And, as far as MAME, we all know that there's mods out there to get rid of, or MAME itself has options to be able to turn off. And here's where, what I mentioned earlier, where if you hold both buttons.
Yeah. Then I see something in my car.
Yep.
Look at that.
And this same shortcut has already been applied to the NAS build. I just didn't have it in there. And it just takes you right back to the UI.
That is fucking badass, dude. Like, I'm excited to see the possibilities. Again, this is running off of the stock PCB. I think we had a question in chat about what do you think is the highest, most powerful game that can be run on the PCB? Can it go up to like PS2, House of the Dead 3? Like, is it like, what do you think?
Ooh, I'm not really sure. That might be a better question for Pino, since he's the one who developed the software.
He says quite a bit. The GPU is decently powerful. I think I've heard that the PCB is also very similar to like maybe what a Raspberry Pi 3, like in terms of expectations, right? Is that a fair assessment?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. So anything that could potentially run off of a Pi 3, maybe that's what you can expect from quality wise. So
yes,
cool, man. That's freaking rad. That's awesome. All right, we got a $2 super chat from Stringer Films that says, "Love seeing these waterproof cabs, my man." Thanks for $2 super chat, Stringer Films. In honor of that, I do have a clip for anybody that does a super chat. Let's show off Mrs. Kongza Russ in her very first debut of Buck Hunter.
Hi, this is Mrs. Kongza Russ, and are you ready to get big buck wild? Well, let's go.
Man, it's been a while since I've seen the cab that way, but thanks for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that, Singer Films. So Mystery Encoder plus Pino and Zan Team Encoder is working, man. So he says, you don't think PS2 or GameCube games, but older PC games and Dreamcast. The possibilities, man. This is freaking awesome. So Zen, kudos to you, man. Not only are you, working on this in the background, I think now that we've seen a showcase, how soon or how far, maybe Pino in the chat can answer, do you think it's ready for prime time? Because for me, I'm an end user. I'm not a developer. I have it kind of working. I have the Duck Hunt basic version, but I know the USB is a little bit finicky. I couldn't get it quite to work out when I was testing it. So how far do you think it is away from maybe kind of a general release or something that the community like Laramie and Brandon, you guys are like waiting? When can we get something like that?
I don't know that I could answer that. Pino might be able to. As far as for me testing it, these releases you can already see playable. As far as if something were to be released, you could at least still play some games. But
Yeah.
I think compatibility for the second gun for a lot of the PlayStation and MAME games as well is important to get out there as far as the driver being recognized. So that one is not my department.
Can I ask a question? So
Yeah.
I'm not a developer and all the mods. I do what I can, but surely there's somebody else watching that wants to know this too. We're using the stock equipment on the cabinet, and both
Yes.
of you are holding a USB stick. Is that plugging into that USB drive that we're seeing on the backs of the new cabinets?
No.
Okay.
So what you want to get is a powered USB hub with, I would say, at least 4 or more ports. It's got to be powered, or it's not going to work. And then you would just plug that flash drive into one of those, into the USB hub.
There's this micro USB to USB-A adapter that allows you to kind of plug in more stuff into there.
Okay.
So the Buck Hunter has the 2 USBs for the guns. So those are going to stay. And you're going to use that tiny micro USB port on the top to split out into a hub, because if that way you can have a USB stick plus like a keyboard, because I think there's some mapping that you might need to do.
Yes.
And know this, right? There's any mod that you do is never like 100% plug and play, except for like pinball was pretty damn close. That was pretty freaking awesome of Mr. Encoder to do that. But even this, in my testing of it, there's still a lot of nuances. So Team Encoder, and maybe Mr. Encoder is a genius that did that, could help Pino, right? Because that would be awesome to get it to a point. And I think he said it here that it's going to be somewhat plug and play in terms of the system being used, but you're going to have to bring your own ROMs, like any of this setup and things. And Google is your best friend if you want to find that stuff. So it's not going to be like a defined set playlist or anything. It's essentially the interface, and then you can do what you want with it, which is freaking awesome still. So I'm excited, man. All right. Cool. Any other questions, Laramie, Brandon, for Zen?
No, I can't wait. It looks awesome.
You know what? We'll take a page out of John D's book, and it'll be soon.
Soon. That's right. Nothing.
I have to be honest. You know, when and I know this is kind of off subject, but when Arcade1Up came out and said, "Hey, we're doing Killer Instinct," I'm like, "No way! How are they doing that on these PCBs?" And then even Twisted Chris's video, you see the PCB in the back, and I'm like, it's like a regular PCB. I was kind of thinking it was going to be like some kind of large box back there. And I know B, you saw it firsthand. It's just, and then the PCB and the Big Buck Hunter is a year old, and we're able to play these games on that. It's just it's awesome.
It's really cool.
Awesome.
I think the chipsets are getting stronger, right? And so I think we're seeing that in the newer cabs, that even though like Tron doesn't need a high chipset, it's still running like a better. I think as time goes on, right, you can do more with smaller chipsets. Like even 3 years ago, what was running. So the possibilities are there from what I know. The odd developer, I don't know. But Zen, do you have any kind of response to that in terms of what you've seen in the chipsets for all the different PCBs?
No, this one seems to be one of the more advanced ones that they've come out in a while.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know much. Tron doesn't look like a really graphic intensive game. I've never played any of them. They don't look interesting to me. That was before my time. Yep. But Killer Instinct is my jam. Like that was my, grail cab. So I think that PCB will open up maybe more possibilities.
Yeah. All right. So cool. So this was really cool to see the possibilities on the stock stuff. So feel free to hang out. I actually have the last part of the show is talking about these guys. And so I know the thing that people really want. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I have all these different guns and wires all over the place. The people, what they want to see in a light gun is something that can do this. Right. So, I mean, these are modded Namco Time Crisis guns made by RPEG Electronics, Raymond. He's freaking awesome. I have a Gun 4 IR system. In addition, since I already put a TV screen in here, I was like, might as well just use the extra HDMI port and plug in a PC. I can have the best of both worlds if I want. I want to run the stock games. I can do that. If I want to do the actual USB mod, I could. But I'm a PC modder at heart. I feel like that's the easiest interface for me. And I can run my Launchbox build. I can run anything else that I want to. And so I'm going to bring on 2 folks that helped put this build together. So these guns were built by RPEG Electronics, Raymond, and the gun build that I'm showing off today is made by Joel Gorski from Retro Lizard. So it's going to be an awesome show. Let's keep it going with our next guest, Ray from RPEG Electronics. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you guys hear me? I'm
Yeah.
not in my normal locale today, so I'm coming.
You're mobile. All right, we can hear you all right. Good, man. So these are the Gun for IRs. I've had you on the show before, but I'm curious from your perspective, seeing kind of these additional mods on stock stuff. I know it's not your forte, but did you have any insight or thoughts about running those games on Sindins on stock PCB hardware?
I'm actually quite shocked that a stock PCB hardware was capable of even like going up to PlayStation. MAME I expected to be able to because
Yeah.
Buck Hunter's original MAME game, but that
Yeah.
was actually very impressive.
Pretty
So
cool, right?
kudos to the team who made this.
Yeah, it gives people options. And like you guys have been building, not only just up through console games, but beyond in terms of your gun builds and what's compatible. So these are awesome. I was waiting to install these into my own point blank cab, but as soon as Laramie told me about this, I was like, I was gonna sell this at one point, honestly. It wasn't my plan to make room for my other future gun cab, but I can't anymore. Laramie, you have forced me to keep this, you and Brandon, because I don't want to get rid of this marquee. This marquee is worth owning in my arcade because the thing about it is that I don't have like the nostalgia for Buck Hunter because I didn't play it much, but just the fact that I could have it and it looks awesome, I made the decision then now to forego my point blank cab and install these into this. So this is kind of the next phase of this. So Ray, point blank, pink and blue guns are going to be on the side of the Buck Hunter cab. I don't know. It's going to be funny. I don't know what I can do, right? So you got to do what you got to do to make space. I've seen some interesting people that have built like a single light gun cab, and then on the back, they have like a gun rack of all their different gun shells that are just put on the back, right? So it's pretty crazy. Zen, do you have other light gun cabs? Because you said you're a light gun fan, right?
I do have a house. You can't see it back there, but I do have a House of the Dead that I skinned. Got all the whole nine, running a Wii.
Nice.
Had all the games on there.
Good stuff. All right, well, let's bring in another guest here, Retro Lizard. Joel, what's up, my man?
What's up, Bay?
Everybody's here today, but I'm showing off your build because we're going to be playing with some Gunfire RRs. What's going on? How you been? You've been busy. You've been playing with another light gun on the market, the AE light gun. How's that been for you?
Oh, that's going really well for me, actually. I'm still enjoying it, still loving it. Can't wait to get a second one, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, the AE is going out really well.
What do you
what's
think
up,
about
guys? Laramie?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
What's up, Ray? Zen?
Hey, what's going on?
Arcade Mountain? How you guys doing?
Good.
How are you?
What do you think about Zen's work on the stock PCB, man? Like just modding stock
I think that's
hardware,
awesome.
right?
I think it's totally awesome. You know what? We're modders. What are we about? Budget gaming. If all you need to do to mod that Big Buck Hunter is just a USB hub, USB, and some software, that you can't get any better than that, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Because that's just going to expand. And not only that, if you unplug the USB, right, Zen, it goes back to the stock games.
Oh,
So
yeah. If I go back there and unclick the button, it'll just load right into the same UI, right into the normal games.
Yeah.
No issues.
100% stock mod where you keep the stock stuff. So you're not losing the original Buck Hunter to play those games. It's freaking fantastic. So I see a lot of possibilities for that. Yeah. So Ray, doing this, like, have you actually built a cab yet out of all the gun cabs that you put together, or do you just play on your giant 50-inch TV? Do cabs?
Oh no, I have a cab. I've always had a cab. I have a Game Room Solutions Deluxe 32-inch.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what you play everything on. Do you do like MAME, all your light gun stuff? Everything is on there.
I use all three screens. I use my cab. I use my new 50-inch OLED and my 65-inch OLED just to test like the ranges I can get with different screen size.
Okay, so that's your home thing. And Joel, you've built so many cabinets now through Retro Lizard and all the stuff. Like, do you still have anything at home that like is yours, or do you just sell everything that you make now?
Oh no, I got a few actually. I mean, I got the Star Wars behind me. I got my 32 wide mod to the other side, my Mortal Kombat.
There you go.
Behind the camera over here, I got a Golden Tee. I got an Asteroids. I got a Rampage I'm working on, which I got a Marquee from Laramie actually, my first one from him.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. And then I have I got a 43-inch TV next to me, which I play my light gun games on.
43-inch. So I think I wanted to ask, I think this question is for Zen. Zen, what size screen is that on your Buck Hunter?
32. Yep.
That's a 32? Okay, that's a 32. 32 is big. I have a 27 on mine, but yeah, I think so curious how you guys feel about that. It's also one of those controversial things where people are like, that looks so stupid, but I'm like, I think it looks somewhat kind of normal. Let me ask the most arcade looks like original person here. Brandon, what do you think about the big screen mod? Is that something you would do, or does that just look ridiculous to you?
From a playing the game point of view, I'm sure I would love it. But as you can see, I'm really big on how things look in my room, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
It's kind of it's almost trying to replicate that what is it, the pedestal build, right?
Yeah.
Because you see pedestal builds that have that, but it's a little bit of a different style.
Well, I actually talked to Laramie about this a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
Like, I think if I was going to do the big screen mod, which I'm not saying I won't do it, but I think I would have to rebuild the cab so the screen fits inside the cabinet, which
Oh,
would
yeah.
then mean I would have to build a new marquee that's even wider than this one that we did. So I don't know. I may end up doing that because
Ooh.
bigger screens are definitely better. But for me, I would really like it to fit inside the, the sides just so
Yeah.
it looks right.
That makes sense. So
But
Brad
that's
gives
me,
a $5 super chat to Retro Lizard saying your gun builds have come a long way in a short time. Great playlist. Brad D, who probably could be on the stream too, because we used to call him the Gun King because he was one of the first to put together an Aliens gun cab and do all sorts of mods with Sandin, Gun for IR, Aim Track. So Brad, thanks for being here for the $5 super chat. Just for that, we can do another Buck Hunter video that might be cringeworthy, but I still like watching.
Hi, this is Mrs. Kong's. And you know what they always say? Bigger is always fucking better.
I can't wait to have Mrs. Kong's get dressed up again to do the review for that. But thanks for the $5 super chat. And Stringer Films with another $2 super chat that says, great job, Zen, with the big buck. I love your pinball game.
Thank you.
There it is. All right. Thanks, Stringer Films. Appreciate that. So Retro Lizard, let's talk about your build a little bit. So you've been offering some services, right? So I think both you and Ray, not only Ray does the modding services as well, but you've also dabbled in some helping people get set up. Light gun setups is probably one of the more complicated things that people try to have trouble with. I would just say that much. Like Joel, so what have you been doing recently for people that have issues and want to get set up quickly?
I just log in through TeamViewer and I set them up myself.
That's it.
That's
One-stop shop service.
One-stop shop.
Talk about your build. How many gun games? What's the kind of like setup process for it? And what builds do you have it for? Like, talk about everything.
I got it pre-configured. It's pre-configured. So it's pre-configured so the gun is pretty much plug and play, except for I think 3 or 4 Techno-Parrot games now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have it set up and pre-configured for all the guns on the market except for the Wii. The Aim Track, the AE, the Gun for IR, and the Send-In. They're all pre-configured. The only thing the customer has to do is calibrate his gun and get it set up before I log in, because obviously I can't calibrate the gun for them because I don't have the gun in my possession.
Yeah.
I log in, I set a couple things up. I gotta install House of Dead 3. I gotta do updates on the PC if the person never updated the PC, and double check to make sure that their security is all off and their antivirus.
Yep.
Make sure their GPU is up to date. Teach them how to, if they don't know, teach them how to configure a game in Techno-Parrot.
Mm-hmm.
And then set up the mole shooter in a couple different spots, and then they're up and running. It's about 6 or 7 steps maybe that I got it locked down to. Depending on the PC and the connection that we got together, it could take anywhere from 20 minutes to about an hour.
Nice. So out of all the guns that you've used, because I think you have been well versed in many of them, and you've done videos on this on your channel too, comparing all of them, doing preferences, your build works with all of them. Give me the real skinny. Like, do you have a preference of which one you would recommend most to folks? And I think everybody has their preferences, but curious about you since you have.
My 2 preferences, Gun for IR and the AE. That's my 2 preferences.
There it is.
I don't have a favorite between the 2 of them. I love them both just the same. I think they work just as good together. Obviously, they work a little bit differently, so they don't work exactly the same. But I think anybody who buys either one would be extremely happy with it, no matter what.
Yeah. So Ray, I mean, Gun for AR is something that obviously you offer modding services for people to send you stuff, or on your website provided as well. How's it been? Has there been any changes in the last year to Gun for IR in terms of the modding process, improvements? The last time I talked to you, like, what's the latest and greatest with with your products and offerings?
So recently, well, not recently, after we started in February till now, we got the LEDs are produced by one of my friends locally here in New York City. So I don't have to solder 40 points over and over again. Sooner or later, I will just, there's a repetition point I can't take anymore. Then we expanded it to custom mods. So if you have an aim track, like your old aim track lying at home, you can send that in, and you can get recoil going on that or add auto fire recoil to it. I also do have a few clients who send in something special once in a while, like a buck hunter shotgun or ghost squad, or like these time crisis ones. Those are actual arcade time crisis guns. They're not like replicas or anything. And that gets done. But the best thing I like to tell my clients is my turnaround time is the next day. By the time you send it to me, they're shipped out the next day.
Wow, that's pretty cool that you have that pretty much locked down pretty quickly. So just to give a demo for folks that have not seen a Gun for IR build, this is kind of what it looks like right now. There's a lot of stuff happening on the screen. So let's do this, and I'm going to make this the big one right now. So let's move this over here. Okay, so I have just a gun build. So this is running for Gunfire 4 sensors on the screens here. And then these are hooked up, and they essentially are mouse emulators, and they're both on the screen tracking pretty darn well, pretty easily right now. So this is my player 1. I'm going to. The cool thing about these are actual Namco guns. So talk about this gun, Ray. Like what is this? Is this a Time Crisis 3, 4 gun, like legit arcade hardware?
Yeah, that is the Time Crisis 2 and 3 actually. 4 is a little bit slimmer edge model. That gets a little bit different. That one is also from Point Blank and Ninja Assault. They all use the same model of recoil gun. That one has a fisheye lens, a rumble in the handle, and a single cord coming out of it. That one I did special for you a while ago.
Super special. So here it is. And then I just, the recoil action on this, I know that T2 was one of those things that, hey, there's going to be force feedback, but I have no idea what that's going to look like from an application standpoint. I still think this is going to be like the best home thing that I can do. Oh, I have to press it each time. Dang it. So even though I'm excited to mod Buck Hunter, there's nothing that's going to be able to replace this. No. Oh, I missed it. Okay. Anyways, that's just a quick demo. And then
Point Blank is extremely difficult, actually.
What's that?
I said Point Blank is actually extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's a fun game. This was gonna be like my actual gun cab was gonna be Skin Point Blank, but this is just one of my favorite games. But the tracking on this is amazing. I don't know how well you can see that on screen. There's a cursor. I didn't even do any calibration on this yet when I put on the new, because I just put this on. But this is 27-inch. This is looking pretty good. Let me ask Zen. Zen, do you have any of these guns?
I have 2 by RPEG. What I did was I found I forgot what they're called. Those really hard to find rare PlayStation ones that come with a pedal.
The Jolts.
Yeah, the Jolts. Yep. So I got those from him, and I mean they're fantastic. Of course, I mean he sent them so quick. He hooked me up later with the wireless option for the LEDs as well. So nice. I love them. They're along with the Sinden. They're both my favorite guns.
Nice. Laramie, Brandon, how about you guys? Do you guys have any other light guns?
I have behind me, I have a real Area 51 with maximum force on it. That's kind of my go-to. And then I have Big Buck too. So
like a legit one.
Yeah. I found it and got the monitor going, and it's a solid cab and it's really fun. That and the claw machine are the two arcades in my place that my kids and their friends like to play when they come over.
Yeah, all I have is the Arcade1Up Big Buck. I'm feeling left out here.
I don't have one of those either, man. So don't feel too left out.
All right, time to jump on the bandwagon. But this was fun to just do some demo of. Again, this is a PC build, and it's available through Joel on Retro Lizard's website. If you want to get a gun modded, you can go through RPEG Electronics. I'm just gonna do a quick round the horn for everybody to maybe just talk about what other projects you have going on. I'd love to hear from each one of you guys about what the latest and greatest is. So let me take this off the screen really quick. All right, so let's start with Joel. Joel, my man, what's going on with Retro Lizard?
What am I working on? I'm doing a Neo Geo rehab. I got that in my garage, and we've been working on that all week. I'm almost up and running on it. I got the screen going, but I got to get the other controls going. I got a point blank cab I'm working on for a customer, Transformers, and then I've been working on this Terminator 2 cab for months. 26 terabyte build going into that. So there's a lot of games on it, a lot of large games on it, and I've been putting a lot of time into that one. That one's going to be probably the best one I've ever done.
Nice. Very cool, man. Awesome. Well, definitely check out Retro Lizard. I have a link to his website in the description as well. RPEG Electronics, modding guns, providing stuff. What's the latest and greatest with you? Do you have any special sales going on? You don't do sales. You charge me full price, man. This free advertising. Guys never given me a discount ever. Yeah.
Zero sales. Like all of these guys, they pay full price on everything because you get what you pay for. You know, it's like going on a date. If you want a hot chick, well, yeah.
Gotta pay to get the goods.
Yeah, you're all laughing because you know it's all true. That's why.
That's right. That's right.
Right now, we have some 3D printed parts in process for improving like upgrades. So solenoid, solenoid, rumble, and fisheye lens. We just want to improve the mounting and production process. To the client, it won't really make a difference. To us, well, to me, it will speed up my process even more so I can be more efficient about getting out like more advanced models like the GunCon 2, which has the D-pad on it, point start button, and a pedal add-on, so you can actually like play Street Fighter with it. I did a demo of that before, just for the kicks, just to show it can be done.
Nice. Very cool. Nice to see you. Nice to hear about. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Another link to RPEG Electronics in the description as well. Zen, you're not promoting anything except your badass build and what you've done. So thanks for coming on. I know we've chatted. It's a pleasure to have you here, man.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Honored.
Anything you want to mention about Team Encoder, stuff you're working on, anything else you have going on?
You know, there's no release date, but I know that we're working hard and diligently to get it out to there. Once everyone was able to see what was being done with pinball, I'm sure everybody really wanted it.
Pinel says you're cheating on Big Buck. He feels a little hurt, so, you know.
I know. But, you know, you got to, when you find another hot chick, you
got to roll with it, man.
Ray knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I think the feedback from the community and hopefully this feed as well, or this show, will hopefully get the fire burning under the team's ass to be able to get it out there quickly. We'll be testing more games. I think the compatibility will be decent at first, if not large. I know everybody wants the most games for their buck. No pun intended.
Look at Mr. Encoder here giving some Retro Lizard some love, saying, make your systems work properly with the recoil, please. He was like, why did you get the guns to work from the gun itself? Why don't you do some coding in your basement, Mr. Encoder? No, I'm just kidding. He's awesome.
Why doesn't Mr. Encoder give a new round of FUs and then give me a good shout out on that one? Maybe I'll log in for him.
I know, yeah. Please don't hack into my life, Mr. Encoder. We love you, so you know. All right, Arcade Mountain. I think we've gotten a lot of awesome feedback. That hey, somebody asked about quick question. Where'd you get your carpet? People wanted to know that.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I'm not a developer like you guys and all this stuff. I just love setting up a room and creating a cool atmosphere, and I think that's kind of what I'm gonna try to build a channel around and stuff. Like the carpet, I've had so many, every time I show off a picture, people want to know where I got the carpet. And I live in North Georgia, about an hour from Dalton, Georgia, which is where pretty much all the carpet is made. And that's what there's a place over there called, I think it was called Astro Carpet Mills. And they've got a website.
He said he loves carpet.
Yeah,
I think
there you go. But that's where that came
carpet?
from. And they've got all sorts of different stuff. And but as far as projects, man, it's go ahead.
So move your head to the side a little bit, because I think there's something interesting with that IR Arcade that you were showing me a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's my current project.
Has anybody noticed anything different about that IR Arcade? Is there something a little funny that you want to show them off? I have a picture here.
No.
Ready? Oh, he's walking over to it. Oh, he's like bring it over. So that's the Big Buck Hunter. Look at that IR Arcade. You guys notice anything different about it? What do you?
That sweet marquee.
Yeah,
Wait, is it a
the
marquee?
top of it's completely different.
Look at that, y'all. He designed a brand new look. He made a new frame for the Arcade that looks 100 times better. Like, what? Like, you're not a developer, but you're so creative, man. Like, talk about this build. What are we looking at on screen right now?
I don't really know what it's going to be yet. So the idea, it's funny. It kind of started out the same way the Big Buck Marquee did, with a phone call to Laramie saying, "Hey, what do you think?" And, you know, again, it was just one of those things. I wanted to do something different. I mean, I love the machine. Like, I love the games. I love the, you know, what they're doing with it. I just really do.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to look different. It's not that I hated the design or anything. I just, you know, I wanted it to look different. I thought I could make it look different. So I kind of just did that. I wanted to turn the speakers down. I wanted to have a real lit marquee. And I wanted the side just to be a little bit different shape. So I mocked something up. I actually put that together this afternoon. So that's just a proof of concept screwed together, and it works.
There it is. Look at that.
and,
How many of you guys would buy something like this? If the Arcade looked like this, is this something that you would pick up? Joel, do you have one of these, or no? Is this like too ugly and not worth it for you to have?
No, I don't have one. I've been debating on it because the price has gone down to like $300.
Yeah.
But I've been debating on it, and I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. Eventually, at sometime in 2022, I'm gonna have one of those.
Well, look, a lit marquee that actually is like all designed with the curve.
And if you notice, B, the screen, when I installed my new sides, the screen is actually tilted back further than stock.
Yeah.
So that was another little thing. And I was talking to Laramie this afternoon. I called him and told him I got it put in, and something that I didn't even consider that was really cool when I turned it on, because the cabinet's bigger now, it actually acts as a bigger speaker cabinet. The speakers sound even better than they already did.
Oh, wow, because they're like angled down.
They're angled down, but the box, the cabinet, you think about a subwoofer speaker box, the cabinet's bigger. So it's, I don't know how to explain it. I just turned it on. I was like, oh, wow, it even sounds better. And I wasn't expecting that. So.
All right. Well, I hope it becomes somewhat available. Is that something that you might make available for the public, or is this just a you project?
Like I said, Big Buck Hunter was supposed to be a me project, and you see where that goes. So,
and then you found a partner in crime like Laramie that can make things happen. So I mean,
no promises one way or the other, but we'll just we'll see where it goes.
All right. Well, the other half of making things possible, Laramie, what did you think of that Dragon's double dragon? You have an Arcade right there. Is that new, or have you had that for a while?
No, that's actually the Kickstarter one. I liked the iArcade, but there are some flaws, like with anything, and you kind of want to see if you can make it better, and you can kind of tell. Oops, over there, I had been working on a marquee for this.
Can you turn your camera? I want to see it. Do you have it on there? Is it on there? There it is. Okay, so that's just like a sit on top marquee.
Yeah, it's kind of what a lot of other stuff has been made, but it's actually 3D printed. It's very hard to make because of the size. Graphics are from Justin. I just got the graphics in the other day. It's kind of a proof of concept. I had been working on this for a while, but it's always been kind of like other things have been taking priority. And it was funny because when I was working on this and talking with Brandon, and Brandon's like, he was like, oh, what about a marquee? And I go, well, this is kind of what people are doing. And he goes, what about this? And, about that. And like, like any conversation, it formulates into great ideas, and the proof of concept gets turned into what you guys just saw now. And literally that's the first time I've seen it today put together. I've seen renders and drawings, and we've gone back and forth.
It looks good, right?
It looks amazing. It looks
good,
amazing.
man.
And Brandon's a pretty good designer. He doesn't give himself enough credit. So, and I'm just, privileged to, be able to get a chance to work with him and kind of share some of these ideas with everybody else. So.
I think all of us are like the community that can benefit from the talents of each one of you. I mean, Laramie, Brandon, Zen, Raymond, Joel, I think all of you have an expertise somewhere. And just to be able to share that with folks, it's just one of the reasons why I do this channel, is just to really highlight the badass stuff that you guys are doing. That's, you know, I do my own stuff, but I just love that we all have expertise that we can share. But Retro 530, Laramie, any last like big projects you're working on that you want to share?
I'm excited for Killer Instinct. I got some stuff in the works for Killer Instinct. I know a lot of people have been hitting me up for Tron stuff. I have some stuff. I'm really optimistic about coming out with a kind of a glow in the dark, lit, you know, black lit, you know, marquee. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. That material is very difficult to work with a 3D printer and something that big, you know. But like I'm optimistic. I have everything ready to go. I just need to find time, you know, to work on some of that product development stuff.
Cool. All right. Well, man, this has been an awesome show, an awesome collaboration. We have a lot of even talented folks in the chat room. I think this is even JB from Gun for IR as well here, like, you know, also making some of that programming happening. So appreciate all of you guys for being here. Thanks. Have a great evening. Keep modding. This is going to be awesome. Available at Retro 530. We'll do some more content soon. I may make a tutorial on how to do the PCB hack mod if Mystery Encoder and Team Encoder and Pino and all those guys figure it out. Zen, you let me know when it's ready for prime time to make it happen. Sound good?
Definitely will.
Sounds
Thank you
good.
for having me on.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Good to see everyone.
Thanks, B.
See you
guys.
Sitting